What's up, kings and queens? It's your boy Dan from Daft Previews, and in today's video, I've got 11 bets that I've already put down, which I'm going to share with you all today. I've also hit 2 straight winning days. Let's hope we can make it a third. Now, if that sounds interesting, let's go.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to your line from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice on the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.
The introduction is back. I've been reading a lot of comments. I got a nice email about it. The introduction is back. If you got any questions about it, let me answer it for you. Yes, that is me rapping. No, I have no experience rapping. I did that all for fun. People loved it. So I managed to keep it for a while. So it's back. The intro is there. But let's recap the day that was. We had a small slate of games on. I still managed to put out a lot of bets to you guys. And we hit a lot of winners. Overall, VIP, 4.3 units profit on the day. 6 and 2 on straight bets in total. But let's talk about the losers and see if we can learn something. Bobby Portis was the first one, over 12.5 points. That was a bad bet. I bought into the news that Giannis's knees were no good, and I assumed more action for Bobby Portis in a great matchup, and I was dead wrong. Giannis, absolute animal, did everything, drove the bus home, ran the showers, did it all. Giannis, an absolute beast. I was a fool to think sore knees was going to slow him down. We also took Najee Marshall over 16.5 points. Man, he was playing with an illness, and I didn't even know the guy was sick until the game started. Regardless, Grimes went off, and I should have known it. His play type and position killed the Jazz all season long, so that's a bad bet, given there were much better options on the board. Wasn't all bad, though. Hit a lot of winners. Paul George, under 17.5 points, easy money. Jared McCain, under 8.5 rebounds and assists. That was pretty easy, too. Dame, 6.5 assists, finished with over 10. PJ Washington, over 9.5 rebounds and assists. That came home late. Michik, over 19.5 points and assists. That was sweaty as hell, but it came through. Dinwiddie, over 15.5 points and assists. That was sweaty as well, but came through. We also hit a value play there on Dame Lillard, hitting for 10 assists at plus 375. I'll show you guys a screenshot of that in a second. Also, the NBA season pass that I have, which is where you get every single bet that I make on the NBA this whole season, including the playoffs. That's still available. Use the code Black Friday. You get 60% off. Very limited in spots which are available. And this plan's only good for you if you're someone who's willing to throw down volume each and every single day. I'm talking 10, 20, 30 bets per day. Now that promo, it's only available for the next 24 hours. Like I said, it'll be ending it this weekend. So check that out. Links for that in the video description below. Here's a tracker I sent out to VIP today. 14 bets, 4.3 units profit, a 36% return. And here's proof that we bet our slips, baby. $50 into 237 on Dame Lillard, over 10 assists. So pretty decent day. Let's make it another one. Let's go. So we're jumping into props madness. This is the best tool you're going to find if you like betting on NBA player props. It's got advanced data that no other app's going to give you. I encourage you guys to check it out. 7-day free trial in the video description below. Use the code DAFT and you get 25% off your subscription. Now, I've got 11 bets to share with you all today. I'll probably end up with at least 15 straight bets on this set of games. There's a few plays that I like, just waiting for lineups to be confirmed and odds to come out. But I do have 11 for you. Now, let's not waste any time and let's get into it. The first game, the Orlando Magic versus the Brooklyn Nets. I've got one bet in this game, and we're looking at this man, Wendell Carter Jr., and I'm taking his over rebounds and assists. So we're looking at 8.5 rebounds and assists in this one. He's averaging 10.4 in the season, 6 out of 8 games. He's been back from his injury for 2 games now, had 6 rebounds and assists in only 18 minutes against the Bulls, and then came back, had 11 against the Brooklyn Nets, played 26 minutes, 7 boards, 4 assists. He's going to see the Brooklyn Nets again. This is the 3rd time this season. The first time, he had 15 of those suckers, 11 rebounds and 4 assists. Absolutely killed it. Did play 31 minutes, though. Now, I'm not saying he's going to get 31 minutes, but if he gets 25 to 30, like he did the last time he played them, I really think we've got an edge here. So 8.5 is a pretty low number. If I'm being honest with you, the assist prop, check out the hit rate on this. His line's at 1.5. It's pretty juiced, so I didn't take that. But I think that's a great look, averaging 2.4 assists. And his Brooklyn team, he's got 4 assists in both of the games he's played them. But you do get better odds if you take the rebounds plus assists. I got minus 115 for this. So I do like Wendell Carter Jr. in this one. Should play 25 to 30 minutes in a matchup that he's exploited time and time again. This Brooklyn Nets team is bottom 10 in terms of assists allowed as well. So, Wendell, go to work, my brother. Into the next game, Pacers versus the Grizzlies. Now, I don't have any bets on this, but I'm here to give you as much value as I can. I was very close to betting Ja Morant overs in points. The concern here, the matchup isn't the best, but I still think he should be able to do it. There's also a blowout risk as well. So the Grizzlies been playing very well with Jar in the lineup, and if they blow the Pacers out, Jar's probably not going to play the fourth. They're looking to play him as little minutes as possible. The Pacers were just blown up by the Detroit Pistons, and I think the Grizzlies are a better team than them. So that's my concern there. So I've got no bets on that Pacers game. Then we probably have the best matchup on the day. We've got the Boston Celtics versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. And normally I wouldn't bet on two of the better teams colliding, but in this one I've got three bets. Three bets on this one, I think. That's a lie. I've got two bets on this one. But we're looking at some star players here. And the first one that we're taking, and I know a lot of you guys probably don't want to take this bet, but keep it in mind. I'll give out all these bets. You do your own research. Listen to how my reasons for it. And if you don't like it, don't take it. If you do, jump on board and ride this train with me. I'm taking Donovan Mitchell over 25.5 points. Yes, Donovan Mitchell. Now, I did take him for overs in his very last game. It was against the Atlanta Hawks, had the best matchup you could find in NBA, and he only scored 12 points in that game. He shot 5 for 23. Now, he's up against the Boston Celtics, a much better team than the Atlanta Hawks, but I actually think the game's going to be a little bit closer. The Cavs lost to the Hawks by 11, then they lost by 16. Up against Boston today, they lost by 3 points the last time they played. It was close, and if it's going to be close, Donovan Mitchell's going to play a lot of minutes. If Donovan Mitchell plays a lot of minutes, he's going to take a whole lot of shots. Now, I'm taking Donovan Mitchell for his points prop only, purely because the matchup is great for him to score some points. This Boston Celtics team, bottom 5 in the league at limiting points to pick and roll ball handlers. And it's not that they're bad defensively. They'd prefer to have the person playing that pick and roll go to work and not get anybody else involved. So I think that's exactly what Donovan Mitchell wants to do anyway. He wants to take a whole lot of shots, and he wants to attack the rim. Last time he played Boston this season, scored 35 points, 13 from 29 shots, shot 45% from the field, 27% from deep, scored 35 points. And I think he does something similar. I think we see a high volume of shots here from Donovan Mitchell. I'm not saying he shoots the ball very well, but surely he shoots better than he did in that last game against Atlanta, where it was 22% from the field. If he can get to about 40% from the field in this game against the Celtics with his volume, I have no doubt in my mind that Donovan Mitchell scores over 25.5 points. So I do like his over here in a bounce back spot as well. The next play, I'm taking Jason Tatum, and I hate Jason Tatum. I don't know. He makes me cringe, but can be good to bet on sometimes. And for Jason Tatum, not looking at his points prop, he did score 33 points the last time he played the Cleveland Cavaliers, but he was 6 from 10 from deep. I don't think I can bank on that type of production from him. He does have a pretty good matchup, though. Letting you know, I think Jason Tatum scores some points today. That's because the Cleveland Cavaliers trust themselves to play one-on-one defensively. They're not going to double team Jason Tatum at all. They're just going to let him go to work and hope that they can slow him down. So I think his points are a good look, but I'm just betting on his rebounds today. Jason Tatum got the 8.5 rebounds, sent it out to VIP. You can still catch it. It's a little bit juiced, so you probably need a de-juicer, and you could add Jason Tatum for 15 points, right, to get rid of some of that juice. But at 8.5 is what I took. He's hit this in 10 out of 19 games, but he's also hit this in 6 out of his last 7. He had 12 rebounds against the Cleveland Cavaliers when they played each other about a week and a half ago, 19 rebound chances. Now, I checked some film for this before I made this bet because I needed to double check everything twice with Jason Tatum because I hate him that much. And what I found is defensively, Jason Tatum seems to find himself defending Jarrett Allen a lot. He's always defending Jarrett Allen, which always puts him in a good position to get some rebounds. Jarrett Allen running back defensively. He's not crashing these offensive boards. He's running back to limit Boston's points in transition. So Jason Tatum's getting a lot of uncontested rebounds down there. And at 8.5, I absolutely love it. Like I said with Donovan Mitchell, this game should be close. These guys should get a lot of game time. And if they do, they'll see a lot of rebound opportunities. In terms of the matchup, rebounds allowed, Cavs, one of the better teams in the league, top 10 in terms of rebounds allowed. But check this out. Similar types of players. They've eaten on the boards against this Cleveland Cavaliers team. And I think Jason Tatum, he eats some boards as well. So they're the two bets that I have in this game. Some other leans around these players. If you wanted to get saucy with it, Donovan Mitchell under his assists is one that I'm leaning towards, and Jason Tatum over his points. But let's jump into the next one. We do have the New Orleans Pelicans versus the New York Knicks. And I've got one bet in this game, and I'm looking at Jalen Brunson again. So the one thing I like doing with Jalen Brunson is whenever he's up against a team that is somewhat decent at defending pick and roll ball handlers, I always go to their assists. And for him, he's got a difficult matchup here to score some points. This Pelicans team, as shit as they are this season, bottom 3 in defensive rating, they allow the 10th fewest points to pick and roll ball handlers. And that's how Jalen Brunson scores 33% of his points. They also don't allow too many points at the free throw line. So it might be tough for Jalen Brunson to cover this 26.5. But what typically happens if your teams are good at defending pick and roll ball handlers, it means they have a specific scheme which is going to let somebody else be open. And that's why I like the assist prop here for Jalen Brunson. Over 7.5 assists. He's hit this in 10 out of 19 games this season, averaging 7.8 assists per game. And yeah, I absolutely love it. If we look at, firstly, how he's performed against teams that allow a lot of assists, we can use Props Madness right here. So if we filter this to say the bottom 15 teams in assists allowed, this hit rate improves 58%, 8.6 as an average. If you get crazy with it and look at the bottom 10 teams in terms of assists allowed, it's even better. 7 out of 9, 9.3 as an average. This Pelicans team, third most assists allowed in the league this season. So Jalen Brunson, I do like his over in assists. The second option would have been an under in his points, but like most people, I try to avoid betting on unders. But I do like that play there for Jalen Brunson. Outside of that, I couldn't really find any value elsewhere. I think maybe DeJounte Murray, his rebounds and assists potentially if you wanted to. But we've got a very small sample size of DeJounte Murray. And yeah, I'm not loving it as much. And with so many games on, there's no need to really force it out. So that's the only bet that I have in this game. Pump of the brakes real quick to ask you all to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and leave me a comment for the algorithm. You can say absolutely anything. Tell me how much you won. Tell me how much you want to win. Just say something, because every comment you guys drop helps YouTube, well, it helps me tell YouTube to push this video out to more people. The next milestone for us is 16,000 subscribers, and I need your help to get there. So please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and if you want to help me out financially, sign up to some of those links in that video description. My partners pay me a little bit of cash to promote their products. It's as simple as that. Now let's get back to the rest of these bets, shall we? Let's go. Next, we're looking at the Heat versus the Raptors. These guys just played each other not too long ago. And the bet that I would quickly jumped on the minute I saw it, Scotty Barnes, taking his over in his rebounds and assists. Now, the last time they played the Miami Heat, just a couple of days ago, I took a bet on Scotty Barnes to go over his assist line and to get 10 rebounds. Great value play. It was like 570 plus 575. And I pretty much have the same idea of that happening here. So I'm just taking the over 14.5 rebounds plus assists. He can get a lot of assists, a lot of rebounds, however he wants. But he's hit this in 3 straight games now. He's been back from injury for 5 games. Actually, a little bit longer than that. Sorry, I can't count. He's been back for a lot longer. But his last 3 games have been excellent. His minutes are high. And another thing I love about it is the matchup is great. This Miami Heat team's not great at rebounding. They're also bottom 10 in assists allowed. So that matchup is great. And then if we think about some of the players that are missing, they're missing Grady Dick. So a lot more offense falls on Scotty Barnes to have to create. And Emmanuel Quickly is obviously out. So Scotty Barnes picks up the point guard duties. His usage rate is going to be sky high. And I think he feasts again, fills up the stat sheet against the Miami Heat. He did make a lot of 3-pointers in that last game, and that's not something that I can always bank on. But that's why I'm staying away from his points prop. But when it comes to rebounds and assists, given the volume of minutes, opportunities, and his usage rate, I think it's going to be a great game for Scotty Barnes. So here are Scotty Barnes' numbers without Emmanuel Quickly and Grady Dick. So the 3 games, his last 3 games where he's been absolutely amazing, that's when he's been dickless. So no Dick, a lot more rebounds and a lot more assists for Scotty Barnes. One game, he had 14 rebounds, 7 assists. The next game, he had 12 rebounds, 7 assists. And then he had 10 rebounds and 10 assists in that most recent game. And that's partly why I bet on him to get 10 rebounds and to cover his assist prop in the last game. And look, being transparent with you, I'll probably do it again depending on what odds I get here. So Scotty Barnes, I do like his over rebounds and assists. And that's the only bet that I have in that game. Next one, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Houston Rockets. And I've got 2 bets down on this one. That's a lie. I've got 3 bets down on this one. Crazy. Now, one thing I like about betting on the games with OKC and Houston, the defensive schemes are pretty clear. It's not always clear where they're going to get production from. That's the Rockets. But it is very obvious where the production is going to come from for OKC. So if I put all that together, it makes these games a little bit easier in my opinion. So my first bet is on Fred VanVleet. Looking at his points and assists here. Managed to catch a 22.5, and I took an under 22.5 points and assists for Fred VanVleet. Now, he's hit the over in only 8 out of 19 games, meaning he's gone under in 11 out of 19. So that helps us out. One thing you'll find with a lot of Fred VanVleet's good games, they came in good matchups. Now, using Props Madness, and this is what you can't do anywhere else, you can actually filter things out to find out where he has a difficult matchup. And what I'm talking about here is we can use the pick and roll ball handler filter, which is where Fred scores the majority of his points. 34% of his points come from the pick and roll. OKC, number one in the league at limiting that. And the transition game scores a lot of his points in transition. OKC very good at limiting points there too. So Fred VanVleet against the more difficult teams when it comes to his pick and roll ball handling, the top 15 teams, he's only over in 3 out of 10. Not only that, is Fred Van... Oh, sorry. That's above the break threes. If we add the top 15 teams, do the same filter for pick and roll ball handlers, it gets better. So pretty much when Fred VanVleet sees a similar matchup like this one he's about to see against OKC, he's over this line in only 1 out of 17 games, 1 out of 7 games, averaging 15.4 points and assists. So I think the matchup's going to be difficult for him. The good thing is the Houston Rockets can get production from a lot of other players. So it's not like Fred VanVleet's usage rate is going to be sky high regardless of how he plays. I think if he finds it difficult early, they'll probably go away from him and start letting somebody else do a lot more of the work. So Fred VanVleet under his points and assists. This matchup is awful. I will let you know the only risk here. The risk here is if Isaiah Hartenstein plays a lot of drop coverage in this and Fred VanVleet sees a couple of open three-pointers and they go in, he's not going to stop shooting that ball. So that's the main risk I see in this one. But I think for the most part, it's a somewhat safer bet to take his under. I do really like that play. It was the first one I locked in for this game. The next play that I'm taking is just an old reliable one. We're just taking Isaiah Hartenstein over his rebounds. It's as simple as that. Over 11.5. You should get close to plus money for it. Now, he's over this in 3 out of 4 games this season, averaging 14 rebounds a game. The only game he went under, 10 rebounds against the Sacramento Kings, who actually allow the fewest rebounds in the league. So tough matchup there. And it was also a 21-point blowout win. So the Houston Rockets, they're in the bottom 10 in terms of rebounds allowed. The Lakers, they're like bottom, I think they're in the middle of the pack. And he had 18 rebounds against them. This Houston Rockets team should be light work for Isaiah Hartenstein. I think he finishes on about 14 to 15 rebounds in this game, provided he stays out of foul trouble. So that's a very straightforward one. Another one that I took here is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and I took his over 29.5 points. Now, he's hit this in 3 straight games, only 8 out of 19 games this season, up against the Houston Rockets, who are a very good defensive team, but for players like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, they've had a somewhat difficult time. Now, SGA scores most of his points by getting to the free throw line, in the pick and roll, and in isolation. That's like 73% of his points is in those 3 different play types. Houston Rockets not great at defending any of those. If anything, they're one of the worst teams in the league at defending the transition game and isolation game, sorry. And the reason why they're so bad at defending isolation is because they have an ego. Their defensive ego is we can lock down anybody who wants to play us one-on-one. Come bring it. They're not going to double team SGA. They're just going to let him go to work. They might make it difficult. His percentages won't high, but they are going to force him to shoot. So I think SGA is going to see a lot of volume in this game. And with that volume, I think he goes over. Now, looking at this season, you probably wouldn't be too excited about it. But if you look at the game since Chet's been out, check this out. He's over this line in 6 out of 9 games, averaging 34 points per game. His lowest scoring game since Chet's been out, 28, 28, and 29 points. So, yeah, it's a pretty low floor if you ask me. I think he finishes between 30 and 35 easily in this one. So SGA, I do like him to score some points today against this Houston Rockets defense. Let's go. Next, we've got the Lakers versus the Jazz, and there's not too many props available at the moment. I think Austin Reeves is a game time decision and most likely Anthony Davis because that's what he does. But I still managed to find a bet to put down in this game, and I'm taking the big fella, Walker Kessler, over 10.5 points in this game. Loving what I'm seeing here. So Walker Kessler's hit this line in 6 out of 12 games this season. So you're probably thinking, why the hell are you betting on this? Well, the matchup is excellent for Walker Kessler. This Lakers team, bottom 5 defensive rating, bottom 5 in points in the paint, bottom 5 in terms of points in the restricted area. They're bottom 8 in putback baskets. Walker Kessler, however he likes to score, the Lakers are not going to be good at it. But the only filter I used to make this bet was points in the paint allowed. That kind of sums up Walker Kessler when it comes to scoring the ball. And if we look at all the games where Walker Kessler's had a pretty easy matchup, teams that allow points in the paint. So we're talking about the bottom 15 teams. Check it out. These are his games this year. 5 games against these shit teams. 14.8 points per game in these matchups against the Grizzlies, the Mavericks, the Nuggets, the Bulls, and the Nuggets once again. Cleared this line easily, and I'm hoping he does it again against the Lakers. The Lakers have been feasted on. Check this out. Similar types of players to Walker Kessler, Jakob Poeltl, Jalen Duren, Jakob Poeltl, and Rudy Gobert. These are just a whole bunch of dunking motherfuckers, dunks and layups. That's all they do. They don't shoot the ball, and they've dominated the Lakers. They've all gone over their points line against them, and Walker Kessler is going to add his name to the list at the end of this game. So I do like him to go over 10.5 points here. Jumping into the next one, we've got the Mavs versus the Blazers. Luka's a game time decision, so we can't bet on PJ Washington anymore. That sucks. But I'll probably have a bet. I'll have more bets down on the Lakers game and probably on the Dallas game too once the lineups are confirmed. Then we have the Spurs and the Kings. I didn't take any bets on this game, but I will tell you I was close to taking Wemby's overs in points, but I guess I didn't love it as much as the others, so I stayed away from it. Kings, DeMar DeRozan's most likely back, and if he is back, that fucks up everything, so that makes it a bit difficult to read. But we're looking at the Nuggets and the Clippers, and I've got two different bets on this game, and I'm going with both of the big fellas. The first one, we're talking Zubac, and I'm taking him over 15.5 points here. I was deliberating whether to take his rebounds, whether to take his points, whether to take both, and I just decided I'll just take the points, but I think he can go over both. Now, he's over this line in 11 out of his last 20 games this season. Scored 24 points against the Denver Nuggets earlier in the year when the season started. And he's been scoring quite well as of late. Last 4 games, he's gone over this line against the 76ers, the Celtics, the Wizards, and the Minnesota Timberwolves. As good as the Denver Nuggets are as a basketball team, defensively, they're not fantastic either. So they're bottom 10 defensive rating. They allow the 3rd most points in the paint this season. And if we think about play types, Zubac should have his way in the paint. So using similar filters that we use for Walker Kessler, when Zubac sees one of the bottom 15 teams in points in the paint allowed, this is what he does. He's hit this in 8 out of 10 games, averaging 19.1 points per game. His highest total this season came against the Denver Nuggets, where he scored 24 points. So Zubac, I do like the matchup here. Him and Jokic should be going back and forth all night. James Harden should eat them alive in the pick and roll. He should be able to get a lot of assists to Zubac in this game. So I do like that. 15.5 points for Zubac here against the Denver Nuggets to make it 2 for 2 on the season. And the other play I have is on the Joker. Now, shit, does he get another MVP? It feels like it, but he's killing it this season. But the bet for me is for Nikola Jokic over 27.5 points. What helps, he did score 41 points the last time he played the Los Angeles Clippers, and he made 7 3-pointers in that game. And I'm not counting on that. I do love the fact that he took 26 shots in that game. I also think he takes a high volume of shots in this game because this LA Clippers team is pretty good defensively. They're a top 6 defensive rating. They don't allow too many points in the paint. They don't allow too many 3-pointers. They don't allow too much of anything, really. And what players like Nikola Jokic do, who typically pass first, is they only score when they have to. And I think in this game, he's going to have to. I've had a look at all the other players for this Denver Nuggets team. From Jamal Murray, he's got a tough matchup. Michael Porter Jr., his matchup is awful. His actually lowest points total in the season was that last game against the Clippers. Christian Braun, who's been a wagon, his matchup is difficult. His lowest points total of the season came in that game against the Clippers as well. So I just figured a lot of the guys in Denver are going to have a difficult matchup here. Nikola Jokic, I think, can score 30 points a night every single night if he really wanted to. And in this particular game, I think he's going to need to. I think the volume is going to be there. It's a 2.5-point spread. The Clippers are favorites. And if this game's close, we should see a lot of Nikola Jokic time between 35 and 40 minutes. That would be nice. And, you know, he's shown us in the past, Zubac cannot defend this man. They can't really defend each other. So Nikola Jokic should be taken at his chest all night. Should be able to get some buckets here. So I do like the Joker to go over his points prop up against Zubac here. So I like 2 of the big boys to go over their points props. As simple as that. So there's the 11 bets that I already have down. Remember, hopefully you've been listening, taking some notes, doing your own research at the same time. Take the bets that you like the most, the ones that you want to ride with, and just bet them. Don't just bet them blindly because I'm a little bit crazy sometimes, right? I am a volume better. Not everybody's down for that. A lot of you guys are running parlays, and I wouldn't say parlay all of these. There might be some who are worth parlaying better than others, right? Because some of these I take at a big just purely because I'm getting a better price than what I think they should be. But I'll leave it up to you guys to make the best decisions possible. If you're interested in me making all the decisions for you, then obviously sign up to my VIP. I'll tell you what to bet on. I'll tell you how much to bet on it. And then hopefully we cash out and make some more profits at the end of the day. But I'm going to have a ton more bets on this slate. I know it. There's a massive set of games, which means there's a lot of opportunity. For those of you who are going to jump into my season pass, go ahead and do it. Black Friday, 60% off. That closes in 24 hours. So go ahead and jump on and you can ride the season with me. If you don't have the cash flow for it and you want to get a taste of VIP, then sign up to any of the partners apps down below. These guys pay me a small referral fee if you sign up and make your first deposit. Send me an email and I'll hook you up with a month of VIP for free. So that's a wrap for me. Hope you've all subscribed to the channel by now. I'll catch you guys in the next one. But let's hear that song one more time. Peace.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to your line from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice on the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.